Hey up, Happy New Year, welcome or welcome back as the case may be. Hope you had a fantastic new year. Now then, the first video of 2024 for me will basically be about the 3 essential accessories I think every bike should have, certainly in the United Kingdom, before you take it on the road. And I'm going to show you me fitting said accessories to my new Motor Guzzi V7 Stone Special Edition. Oh, and by the way, what's to think at new logo up here somewhere there? Just a little splash of colour for 2024 to the old TBW logo. But apart from that, pretty much no change. Now then, so yeah, what do I think are the 3 most essential accessories to fit to a bike? And one of them appertains particularly to the United Kingdom. And I'll take you through them one by one. First one is crash bars, engine protection, whatever you might want to call them. Every bike I've ever had bar one, and that was the BMW K1600 GTL, which had no crash protection on it when I dropped it for the first time. It cost me £2.5 grand. So that were a lesson well learned. I fitted some crash protection Wunderlich bars, if memory serves, about 275 quid front and rear. Dropped it again a couple of months later, not a mark anywhere. So just goes to show the wisdom of that particular move. Right, so all the bikes I've ever had have either had crash bobbins or engine bars or some form of bodily protection on them prior to going on the road. So for the Moto Guzzi V7 Stone Special Edition, we're looking at various crash bars. You can get crash bars from Hepco and Becker. They're quite big and a bit bow-like for my liking. A little bit too unsubtle, shall we say, for my liking. And then there were the smaller Givi, I think, bars, which are a lot more minimalist, a lot more nuanced, and don't detract from the fantastic lines of the bike so much. Now, these Givi bars are in the UK just under £100 for the pair. And what I did actually is I ordered them, but I inadvertently ordered them from a foreign seller because I got about £5 cheaper. And then realised when it was too late that they weren't going to come until first week in January, which is where we are now, and they've just come. So in the meantime, I ordered some cheap ones, some cheap 50 quid jobs from eBay, and fitted those, and those are the ones that you're going to see fitted in the video coming up. But they were 50 quid, and the Givi ones are 100 quid, basically. So I've got one of the new Givi bars here, and do you know what? I absolutely cannot tell the difference between this and the ones that are half the price. It's got a little Givi sticker on it, this one, but apart from that, they appear identical in terms of weight, shape, contours. Possibly the powder coat finish on this is ever so slightly more premium, but really, you'd have to get a microscope out to be able to tell, and I'm still not sure. But yeah, the cheap ones fit absolutely a treat. As you'll see in the video coming up, they are an absolutely perfect fit and an absolute doddle to fit. And there's just a bit of a tip in the video coming up as to how you can avoid the potential or unlikely disaster of the frame bolts slipping out of line slightly, but you'll catch up on that as you get through the fitting video. So it's not a long video. So it's about fitting the the cheap wannabe Givi bars. I've got these as well now. So if anybody's interested, I'll do you a deal. Right, okay. So, and the second item is an Optimate battery charger. I use the Optimate 4, which is the sort of premium end. I think they're about 52 quid from Sports Bike Shop, the Optimate 4 smart charger. But the way they operate is that they actually sort of interrogate the battery establish exactly what state it's in, and then arrive at a prescriptive remedy in terms of the amount of charge and how often that charge is put into the battery. And I've always found they work an absolute treat. So I have 3 Optimate 4s, one on each of the bikes, and they've never let me down. So I'll show you the process for fitting the connector to the V7 for the Optimate, and at the same time I've fitted the connector for my Gerbing heated gloves. Now I know in this day and age the sort of default position for heated gloves tends to be the ones with the batteries in, but I can't be arsed with all of that. I mean, the 200 quid of a do every time you buy them, and I already had the Gerbing hardwired gloves. I've had those for 3 or 4 years now, and they're still going strong, never let me down. I prefer them to heated grips, because all heated grips do is warm that part of your hand. That's not the part of the hand that actually gets cold. It's the back of the hand that's exposed to the elements, even if you do have hand guards. So that's why for me heated gloves are a better option than heated grips. You can have both, but I've found on bikes on which I wear the heated gloves but don't have heated grips that there is very, very little difference indeed between having heated grips and heated gloves at the same time. So just the heated grips, correction, just the heated gloves is a better option to my mind and in my experience than the heated grips. So I've got heated gloves. I've got them wired up on the Super Meteor 650, and I'm going to show you now how I've wired up the connector to the Motor Guzzi V7. Make sure you get the fuse right. It's 35 amps for these heated gloves. A 35 amp fuse, that's the purple one. So a purple 35 amp fuse, very important that. So yeah, those are my top 3 accessories before you go anywhere. Now if you live in a warm country, if you're blessed and you live in somewhere like Portugal or Spain or wherever, you might not consider heated gloves or heated grips or things of that nature, heated clothing, to be an essential requirement. And I have to say I'm very jealous of you if you don't think that they're a necessity. But over here in the United Kingdom, and particularly at this time of year, but not exclusively in the autumn and winter months, at some point you're going to need some heated gloves or heated grips, in my case gloves. Okay, so without further ado, let's crack on and I'll show you how I've fitted these 3 top accessories to my Motor Guzzi V7 Stone Special. Enjoy! Right, so your anchorage point for these here bars are those 2 frame bolts that you can see there. They are a 6mm, i.e. requiring a 6mm Allen key or Allen spanner there. That's the bolt, and the locking nut at the rear is 17mm, and you're going to need a 17mm open-ended spanner. Now, here's the thing, leave the top bolt in place and only remove the bottom bolt at this stage, because that will minimize any chance of slippage and misalignment due to any movement of the frame stroke engine. Only needs to move by fractions of a millimetre and you'll be in a whole world of pain getting those bolts in. So the supplied replacement bolts come with a washer that you can see under the front there and a spacer that goes at the back of that flange on the bars, and a supplied additional 17mm nylock nut, locking nut. So you just need to pop that in place and just finger tight the nut at the back, and then you're safe and secure. Proceed to the top bolt there to remove that, and as you can see there's plenty of room there to access the top bolt with the bars in place at the bottom, not the other way around. So don't do it by removing top bolt first and leaving the bottom bolt in, because you won't be able to get your spanner in. That's the way to do it. So just remove the top bolt now and line up the bars, and again insert the 6mm Allen bolt, the washer, and the looks like a 10mm spacer that goes at the back there. And a little bit awkward getting your hand behind the flange there to pop the nut on, but persevere, you'll manage it, no problem. Sorry it's a bit dark, I think the settings are a bit askew on the GoPro. I normally use the Nikon camera for this, which is a lot better, but on this occasion, and I can't remember why, I used the GoPro, and I wish I hadn't now, but I think you can pretty much see what's going on. You can probably pretty well see that those there 52 quid bars look absolutely no different to the Jiffy bars I showed you in the opening sequence. So yeah, all you need to do now is tighten up the two bolts. There are no torque settings supplied that I can find, but you get a feel for these things after a while, so I reckon that's going to be about 40 Newton meters, but just use your judgment. Make sure they're as tight as that you can get them, but without, you know, sort of busting a gut with it. Okay, now on to left hand side, again leaving the top bolt in place. Remove the bottom bolt, again 6mm Allen bolt, and at the back 17mm locking nut. Okay, offer up the bar again, and again in the bottom there insert the supplied replacement bolt with washer and spacer that goes between the flange and the frame, and you need that to give the right amount of protuberance, whatever it is, of that there bar, because if you don't have the right amount of protuberance and you drop the bike, you might find that the top of your cylinder heads kisses the floor before the bars do. So don't forget them there spacers. There we are with the bar in place with the bottom bolt only, and as you can see there, there's plenty of room to access everything to get the second bolt in place. Again, 6mm Allen bolt, washer, and 17mm locking nut to the rear and the spacer. Okay, so nice, firm and secure there, and look, just the job, don't you think? Okay, now we're going to fit the connector leads for the heated gloves and the Optimate, and so the right hand side panel there is where your battery is, and you need to undo that Allen bolt at the bottom there, and that's a 4mm Allen key that you'll need. 4mm Allen key. Just pop that out, and you're going to pull up on that side and push forward towards the front of the bike on that side, and you'll see why, because the two grommet type connectors are orientated that way. So you're pulling up at the back and pushing forward at the front. Next, there's the retaining bracket for the battery, and that's held in place there by two T30 Torxes. And once you've removed that, you just need to get a 10mm spanner or a Phillips 2 screwdriver on those two terminals. Disconnecting, of course, the negative terminal first, followed by the positive terminal. Now we're installing the Gerbing heated glove connectors, and you can see me popping in there the correct amperage of fuse, 35 amps, and doing a little bit of cable embroidery there to get the relevant wires where you want them in the interest of tidiness. And there we go, the two connectors, the two positive connectors, one for the Optimate and one for the heated gloves in place. And what you can see me doing there is trimming the red rubber cover on the positive terminal cover there, which you might need to do that to get it to fit back over. So here we are, next time around we're on the negative, so connecting the negative wire for the heated gloves and the negative wire for the Optimate to the negative terminal on the battery. And you might want to tighten them up with your 10mm spanner rather than your Phillips screwdriver to ensure you've got a nice tight fit. And there we are, putting back the top battery clamp with the two Torx T30 bolts. Nice and straightforward there. And again, a little bit of cable embroidery and threading just to get everything neatly in place. Right, and once you've got everything exactly how you want it, time to replace that side panel. So at the top there on the right, you push towards the front of the bike, and then on the left hand side there you push down, and then that there 4mm little retaining bolt there should line up perfectly. So once again, when you're putting that panel back, you start at the top right hand that you can see there from the point of view that you're looking at that screen. Top right hand there, push forward. Top left hand there, then push down. And then you can refix the 4mm Allen bolt at the bottom. Okay, so at this point, depending on exactly where you want the two connectors for the Optimate and the heated gloves, you're probably going to have to do, and I would suggest that it's a good idea to use 2 or 3 cable ties to get everything nicely in place, and then you'll find that the seat pops back without any problem whatsoever. It doesn't get snagged up in those wires at all. So you can see I've got mine there just above the suspension strut, because that's where my Optimate will be. Okay, and then just plugging the Optimate in. Top job. Okay, hope that was of some interest to you. If it was, please click a like, please click subscribe, please hit that notifications bell, and until the next time, ride safe, be kind, and I'll see thee!